recognize that it's not really up to me to tell these folks where they need to go. But I can tell you that they're responding to very serious and real conditions on the ground. Whether it's being abused by foreclosure, credit cards, there's slogan is right. Jobs not cuts. That's one. Another one they say is they got bailed out, we got sold out. That's also true. And so the folks are outraged, and they need to express that. And I think that through their general assemblies that they have at all these Occupy sites, whether Minneapolis or D.C. or New York or anywhere, we will see an agenda emerge. But right now, they're fueled by their outrage at the economic exploitation, the widening wealth and income gap. And I think what you'll see is that they will make demands that we don't have an austerity project, but we basically make these banks pay their fair share and the top 1% pay their fair share so that people can have a decent living and a decent life. We have seen 30 years of economic stagnation among working people. It's unacceptable. And I think that, so in terms of what are the next steps, I have every confidence that the citizen committees, the general assemblies at these Occupy movements will formulate agenda which will congeal and which I'll be more than happy to help advance. But it's not really leaderless. It just has a lot of leaders, right? So people offer that as a sort of a critique, but it's just a lot of leaders, because people are sick of some Moses-type figure come telling them what to do and what to believe and what to feel and what their reality is. They know, and they're acting on that. So I'm real comfortable with where the Occupy movement is. I've been trying to help, say things about it that I think are true, which is it's a healthy, good movement. And we actually had a few Occupy participants come visit the Progressive Caucus in Washington. And they told us that this is not a movement that we want any politicians to come try to run or take over, but you're welcome to come down, and we hope that you do. So me and Barbara Lee actually did go to Occupy D.C. As I've gone to Occupy Minnesota, she has gone to Occupy Oakland. So, we're just standing up for citizen activism, responding positively to the outrageous conditions people are living through, and standing to help lead that change, along with citizens. So thanks a lot.
Yeah. You're known for being pretty in touch with your community here at home. Yeah, but of course, the knock on Washington is often that it's a bubble culture. How do you see the reaction in Washington being to these protests? Are people afraid? Is it? I guess it's also a golden opportunity for Democrats to some degree, right?
Well, there is a disconnect. There's no question about that Washington is a bubble culture. But I think that everybody in Washington is well aware of the Occupy movement. They're well aware of it. They know about it. And my advice to people is listen and just say what's true, which is that these folks are absolutely right to be outraged. But don't try to inject yourself. That's my message. And so in Washington, what I've heard is from a lot of people is that, if the movement turns violent, maybe it would be wise not to be connected to it. I'm like, let's get rid of that super play it safe, cowardly chicken style. Let's lead with what we believe for a change, and say these people are absolutely right to get out there and just express their outrage with these conditions. But also, I think the activists are smart, They know that the right wing is just looking for a way to sort of accuse this movement of being, unruly or violent or something. So people are being very clear. Every time I've gone to an Occupy movement, I've been greeted with great graciousness and courtesy, and I think that this is a slam that these people are trying to promote. But I think that the movement is well received, and I think that folks in Washington need to just keep their hands off of it and listen and try to support.
Can an analogy be made between the Occupy movement and the Tea Party, or also the Arab Spring, or are those bad analogies?
Well, I think that the Arab Spring and the Occupy movement have some commonality. I think the Tea Party movement is a different kind of thing, because I think basically a lot of people who are Tea Party activists had a general sense that there were things that were going wrong, that our country had gotten off track, and that the middle-class lifestyle that we've grown accustomed to is getting out of our reach. But instead of turning to other Americans, they turned on other Americans and started looking for people to blame and hate. So you see a lot of Tea Party rhetoric that's like anti-immigrant. Some of it was, not all, but some of it was kind of racist, you know. And this is not uncommon. Right-wing populism has a long history in America, you know. And then, of course, people like Dick Armey went and got his little Freedom Works program and tried to take over the Tea Party movement. And so they funded it, and then they directed it and wrote books about it. And then the Koch brothers paid for a lot of the stuff there. And so I just think it's a different kind of thing. But if you look at the Arab Spring, for example, these are people living under years of oppressive conditions that decided to just spontaneously get out and do something about it. No central figure. And here, people here living under oppressive economic conditions decided to just get out and do something about it. So in many ways, there are some similarities to be drawn.
Just getting back then, some concrete policy should come out of Washington, or is it too early yet? I mean, is it about the movements in the street?
Well, you know, it's about the movement in the street, but here's the thing. Washington knows what to do. In the Progressive Caucus, we got 77 members. We know that the rich are not paying their fair share. We know that that the government hasn't done anything to help bail out citizens who are in foreclosure. We know $1 fees per month. We know what to do, you know, and we need to start doing it. And this movement adds the heat. You know, sometimes politicians don't see the light until they feel the heat. And so at this point, you know, this movement is offering the heat and telling wise politicians, you better get on your job, or things are going to be different for you.